Hey everyone, it's Erica Stapleton with the 12 News I-Team. And dating apps remain a popular way for people to try and find love, with millions of people swiping for love each year. But not everyone finds that fairy tale ending. I uncovered a big transparency issue when it comes to violence and dating apps. Safety isn't always a guarantee. And sometimes people are drawn here. East Valley Krav Maga self-defense in Tempe, after something bad has already happened.
Have you ever had someone come in after they've had a bad experience on a date or a dating app?
Unfortunately, yes. We've got a lot of that kind of stuff that comes in.
Keith Larkin and Michelle Harrison are both lead instructors of Krav Maga.
You're just seeing a lot more chance being taken with meeting people online. It's kind of Russian roulette in a way.
To be clear, there are risks to meeting people without dating apps too. And not all people who use dating apps will have a violent encounter. But the reality is, we have no idea how often people report violence or abuse by a person they met online, because no one is really tracking it, at least not publicly.
And safety is a huge issue.
In February 2020, U.S. Representative Jan Schakowsky of Illinois and her colleagues on the House Energy and Commerce Committee sent a letter to Match Group expressing concerns about safety on dating apps.
The companies themselves have to take some responsibility.
Match Group isn't the only dating app company out there, but it is one of the biggest in the world, owning many popular apps like Tinder, OkCupid, and Hinge. The various apps have options to report violence or inappropriate behavior right in the app, and the lawmakers specifically asked, how many sexual violence complaints did Match Group and its apps receive?
We've heard all kinds of reports from individuals, but we don't know the numbers.
The 12 News I-Team obtained a copy of Match Group's June 2020 response letter, which indicated that Match Group worked with law enforcement on 200 assault cases in 2019. But the company did not specify how many people submitted complaints to them or through their apps.
They didn't send us any real data. And that data has to be gathered. How many people actually are experiencing sexual assault or danger online?
Researchers in Australia are trying to find that answer.
That lack of visibility really is what drove us.
In 2022, Dr. Christopher Dowling and his team with the Australian Institute of Criminology found that nearly a third of people they surveyed reported violence at an in-person meeting after matching online.
Yes, it did certainly take us by surprise. I think delving down into those findings as well revealed some more disturbing results regarding the increased risk that women, but especially LGBT plus women, who are out of this violence. Younger users and users with a disability have also been shown to be at increased risk of this violence.
ProPublica published a similar stat in 2019, finding that 31% of women surveyed reported being sexually assaulted or raped by someone they had met through an online dating site. And at the end of 2024, the I-Team conducted our own informal survey, where about a quarter of our 80 respondents reported a violent encounter with someone they met on a dating app.
There certainly is a responsibility on the owners of these apps and platforms to ensure the safety of their users. I also think it's in the interests of these apps and platforms that users feel safe while using them.
The I-Team started looking into this while reporting on Helen Simmons, who alleged she was abused and forced into participating in a violent armed robbery by a guy she initially met on Tinder.
He made me tell me he was gonna kill me. I was so scared, I thought I was gonna get shot.
Helen is now in prison for that crime. When Helen said she first met Matthew Jones, records show he had just gotten out of prison for aggravated assault and imprisonment involving another woman he met online. Jones wasn't charged based on Helen's allegations, but he was charged and convicted in the robbery case and is also serving prison time. In response to this reporting, a rep for Tinder said they had no record of Simmons or Jones meeting on the app. Tinder's terms of use state that felons are prohibited from creating accounts, but that the company doesn't do any criminal background checks, and that Tinder is not responsible for the conduct of any member on or off the service. The same term's true for many popular dating apps.
I mean, it's definitely easy for bad actors to access dating apps.
Catherine Kosmidas started her online safety company Garbo after her own experience encountering violence from someone she met on a dating app.
And we definitely have seen individuals using dating apps as a way to find victims in a much easier fashion.
In their June 2020 response, Match Group stated that when a user reports assault, they work to block the account and remove from all Match Group platforms. The letter states Match Group will run sex offender checks only for those who sign up with a credit card, not those using free accounts. Match Group said they ran into hurdles when users would have to pay for app purchases through a third party that could limit information needed for a registry check. Match Group also highlighted difficulties with public records, like outdated photos and incomplete data. The company asked federal regulators to better monitor and update sex offender registries.
Well, we have to get to serious background checks. That's it.
In 2021, Garbo partnered with Tinder to provide background check services for app users. But by 2023, Kosmides and her team decided to shut down Garbo's background check service, not just because of challenges with public records.
They care, I think, more about the press headlines and getting the government off their back when it comes to trust and safety than actually caring about consumer safety.
A spokesperson for Match Group told us over email that the company was disappointed in Garbo's decision to cease operations. And in 2024, Match Group partnered with a new company called BrightCheck to help with background checks. Match Group's most recent impact report states the company invested $125 million into safety in 2023, and the spokesperson detailed continued work to develop safety features on their apps, including technology like AI to detect harmful messaging, imagery, and bad actors. As for the Lawmakers letter, the company did not provide us with any data either on how often people are reporting abuse on the apps. But the spokesperson said they recognize that making data available is an important step to raise the awareness of sexual assault and concerning behaviors.
Sparsity of information is a hallmark of danger that consumers are facing right now.
In 2023, Representative Jan Schakowsky and her colleagues sent another letter to Match Group saying they remain concerned about potential harms these platforms enable, including sexual violence. This session, she plans to introduce another version of the Online Consumer Protection Act, which in part could mean consequences for social media platforms or online marketplaces if safeguards aren't working.
I think it should be a bipartisan issue.
Back at East Valley Krav Maga self-defense.
It is about trusting your gut. It's about knowing what your boundaries are. I think it's really, really important, especially as a woman, to give yourself permission to leave if you are uncomfortable, to not have to go through with the date, to not have to meet up with this person.
Training body and mind.
I sharply rotate to create leverage on his grip.
Just try to simulate as real world as possible.
Okay, go for it, guys.
You don't get to pick the time and place if you're ever going to be attacked. But what happens afterwards is going to be up to you, and we want you to be ready for anything that could potentially happen.
Yeah, good reset.
Taking safety into their own hands, even if no one else can guarantee it.
As I mentioned, we first started looking into this while investigating Helen Simmons' story. She claimed she was abused and forced into an armed robbery by a guy she met on a dating app. And we took her story and turned that into a docuseries called He Made Me Do It. You can watch that now on 12+. Here's a look at the trailer.
On July 12th, we won't forget that day here in Anthem. All of a sudden, we saw police, everything happening here, and they had everything locked down.
And then out they come, and we're like, oh.
And they said there was a shooting at the Andrews.
Did you see where they went?
They couldn't be in any of these businesses, right? Nobody walks in with a pistol and just robs, right?
22 seconds is all it took.
The victim has gunshot wounds, right? Multiple gunshot wounds, yeah.
All black clothing, black helmets. One appeared to be a female.
We have the video of inside of them actively doing it.
But these 22 seconds
looks like she smashes everything.
And then that's when the shooting starts up here.
Don't show the whole story.
The horrible things that happened to Helen, you wouldn't even want to see in a horror movie.
Why do you believe her?
I'm investigative reporter Erica Stapleton, and this is He Made Me Do It, a 12 News iTeam series uncovering how a teenager from Vermont became a robbery suspect in Arizona, saying she was forced into the crime by an abuser.
We were told that you're a victim of human trafficking.
We take a hard look at whether a suspect can also be a victim.
She's a danger.
The system is set up for women like this, or any
victim like this, to really fail.
And if allegations of abuse were ignored,
I don't think they care.
22 seconds.
Somebody please help me!
Again, that full series, He Made Me Do It, available now on 12+. Thanks for watching. For the 12 News I Team, I'm Erica Stapleton.